things y'all need to understand. The Hebrew Israelites need to understand that Jacob and Esau are not a black man and a white man coming from the same womb. First of all, the dominant genes of a Negroid race is not going to produce a white child with a pointy nose, okay, and blue eyes and blonde hair, or brunette phenotypes. The phenotype of a black child, of a black ancestor creating a new progeny is going to be a large nose, large lips of African Negroid descent. Even if the child is Creole, if it's white, the baby is still going to have an African nose, African lips, and look like a white black person. Okay, it's not going to look like a European white person. Okay, it's called phenotypes. You need to do your history and understanding of genetics. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when we talk about Israel and we talk about whether Israel is black or not. First of all, one of the things you need to understand is that Israel is goes into captivity by the Babylonians. Okay, so historically, one of the first documents you need to understand that's religiously written is the Talmud. Also, that precept is come from the final completion called the Gomorrah. Now, if you look at that text, you'll find that, or if you do the historicity of that text, you'll find that the Talmud is either written by the Sumerian Talmud, or the Babylonian Talmud. So one of the things you need to recognize is that the Talmud was created during the 3rd to 6th century BC. AD. So what you need to recognize is that this all happens after the prophecy of Jesus Christ and the actual time that Jesus lived in the 1st century AD ever even occurred. This is 300 years to 200 to 300 years later that Jesus died. Okay, so that's the number thing you need to realize about Christianity and Jesus. And what you need to understand is that the Talmud is created by the Babylonians that exiled and put Israel into captivity. Okay, you also need to understand that that Canaanites and Israelites were in control of the trade routes. And in the Battle of Megiddo, they lost a battle against Egypt and Assyria, who were their allies. Okay, so you need to understand that when you say that Israelites, when white people say Israelites are not black, they need to understand that they need to know their history about Joshua conquering the Canaanites and making them his servants, and actually intermingling with those Canaanites and creating black Israelites. Even if you were to say they were white Israelites, they were black to begin with. Okay, so now we go back to that. We got that point, and then we got the point that the Battle of Megiddo teaches you that Egypt is conquering the land that controls the trade routes, and it's specific because it identifies that the Canaanites and the Israelites were allies working to prevent Egypt from taking control of their trading posts. And what it shows is that the land of the Canaanites and the Israelites are synonymous with one another, and that you have to recognize that you have to have Canaanites and Israelites together as black people. You can't say that they're different. They're not as different as you think they are. So you need to recognize that, and you need to recognize that that Egypt, even though there are scriptures that say that Egypt is God's people and that Israel is his inheritance, you need to look that scripture up, and that Assyria, blessed be Assyria, the work of my hands. So he says, blessed be Egypt, my people. Blessed be Assyria, the work of my hands, and blessed be Israel, my inheritance. Okay, so you need to know that scripture. Okay, so that's an identifier to let you know that religiously, in the context of all of this documentum and these religious texts, that Sadducees and Pharisees are controlling how they can control these people, and how they can use that religious text to grant authority to the nations that govern those city states. Because once again, like I said, in the Battle of Megiddo, the Egyptians conquer and they kill King Josiah, the king of Judah. Okay, and they kill over like 8,000 Israelites and Canaanites, and they lose about 4,000 something of Egyptians. So what you find is that this is all used to control the masses, to control the mind and manipulate the people into confiding in the dominance of the more prominent society, to create religious texts and religion to control the masses of people. Okay, you got to understand the Battle of Megiddo. Okay, and you got to understand Egypt and Cush. Okay, when people say they black because they Egyptian, that's not true, bro. I'm gonna tell you why. Egypt is an Afro-Asiatic people. Okay, they don't become Negroid Egyptian people until the 25th dynasty of Egypt, bro. So when I say Afro-Asiatic, I mean the continent of Asia is where everything started, bro. So you can't say that Egypt is all African race. You can't say that it's all Negroid race. It was a trading post, and it was a place where slaves and captives would come for trading slaves, not just trading not merchant trading, but also trading slaves. This is how they got their wealth. They got their wealth through taxation of slaves and merchant sales and goods and services through trading posts on the Nile River. So when you try to say that that Egypt is just predominantly all African, you're wrong, because it's a diverse culture of people that have an alliance with Assyrians that are diverse enough to not just be a Negroid race, bro. Only until the 25th dynasty do they intermingle with the Cushites, who take control of Egypt, because the 25th dynasty is a Cushite dynasty. It stems from the Cushites taking control of Egypt. So you got to understand that too. And you got to understand that religion is being used to manipulate you. You got to understand. You got to always go to the beginning of how something was created and how it started. When you talk about Christianity, you got to go back to the Crusades. What was this religion in its inception? It was a bunch of people killing people. Okay. When you go to the United States and how religion started in the United States, you see that most of these people that came to the United States were fleeing religious persecution in their own countries, bruh. The only reason they came to the U.S. is because they was trying to flee getting killed and getting their heads cut off by people that became religious cults, bruh. Do your history. Do your history. Do your research. Okay? The cults are what are destroying this society, bruh. We don't recognize it because we've been born into it. But you have to do your research and know your history to really identify how all of this stuff is controlling your life. They're trying to prevent people from revolting against governments and secret societies, because those societies are gaining wealth even to this day off of slavery and off of religious doctrines. Okay, They want to keep those ideological apparatuses still running so that they can continue to trickle millions away from people, okay, to strengthen their governments and their militaries to control the power of those different governments and countries. So, bruh, wake the fuck up. That's all I'm trying to ask you to do, bruh. Wake up.